You're Augustus Stonehurst's daughter. That's how you knew about the secret passage.
Judy's biography and origins explained the twisted legacy of Augustus Stonehurst's experiments. The mysterious new villain in Wednesday's world. In the eerie, secret-filled universe of Wednesday, every new face seems to hide a shadowy past. But few are as unsettling or as fascinating as Judi. She's not just another outcast with a strange gift. Judi is the product of science, obsession, and tragedy, a walking reminder of how dangerous it can be to play with nature's rules. And while her presence in Wednesday Season 2 has already sent shivers down viewers' spines, her story is so much more than just being the new villain. It's a deep dive into family trauma, moral compromise, and the chilling consequences of human experimentation. So, who exactly is Judi, and how did she become one of the most dangerous characters in the series? Let's start at the very beginning, with the man who shaped her life before she could even understand it. Augustus Stonehurst, the normie who wanted to be special. Judi's story begins with her father, Augustus Stonehurst. Unlike most students at Nevermore Academy, Augustus wasn't born an outcast. He was a normie, an ordinary human without supernatural abilities. That fact alone made him an outsider in a school built for the extraordinary. Somehow, Augustus managed to enroll at Nevermore, hiding his true nature from those around him. But the truth eventually came out. He didn't belong. He wasn't gifted. And for someone with big ambitions, that reality wasn't just disappointing, it was humiliating. The rejection and isolation planted the seed for a dangerous obsession. Augustus became determined to find a way to give himself and other normies the powers they were missing. This wasn't just about fitting in anymore. It became a mission to rewrite the rules of the supernatural world. The birth of a dangerous idea. At some point after leaving Nevermore, Augustus began researching outcast abilities, what made them possible, and more importantly, how they could be transferred. He wasn't just dabbling in science. This was fringe experimentation, the kind most people would call unethical or downright insane. His work led to a shocking breakthrough, a way to extract an outcast's special ability and implant it into a normie. In theory, it was genius. In practice, it was cruel and unpredictable. The process was invasive, dangerous, and came with serious psychological risks. But for Augustus, the risks were worth it. He had something to prove, and, tragically, he chose to test it on the person closest to him. Judi, the unwilling experiment. Judi was just a child when Augustus decided she would be his first real subject. Maybe he convinced himself it was for her own good, that giving her powers would make her life better, would protect her from the same rejection he endured. But the truth is, Judi never had a choice. The experiments worked, at least on a surface level. Judi gained powers, potent, strange, and entirely unnatural. But with them came something far more dangerous, a shift in her personality. Whether it was the trauma of the procedure, the side effects of the power transfer, or simply the result of being treated like a lab rat by her own father, Judi's sense of empathy began to erode. She developed a sadistic streak, finding a disturbing thrill in watching others suffer. What was meant to make her special instead warped her humanity. Augustus hadn't created a hero, he had created a monster.
Unlocking the outcast mind. It's required.
The monster in the making. Growing up with her newfound abilities, Judi learned to use them not just for survival, but for dominance. She became manipulative, cunning, and unpredictable. Her powers gave her the upper hand in almost any situation, and she quickly realized she didn't have to play by anyone else's rules. To her, people weren't friends or allies. They were tools, obstacles, or prey. Over time, her sadism became more pronounced. She didn't just want to win, she wanted others to lose, to feel powerless, to know what it was like to be on the wrong side of control. And deep down, maybe this was her way of taking back power after a childhood where every decision, including the one that changed her forever, was made for her. Augustus' guilt and the end of the experiments. By the time Augustus truly realized what he had done, it was too late. His daughter's humanity had been twisted beyond repair. He hadn't given her a gift. He'd stolen something from her and replaced it with something dark. Guilt consumed him, whether out of fear of what Judi might become or shame over his own actions. Augustus abandoned his research. He stopped experimenting altogether, vowing never to create another like her. But stopping the experiments didn't undo the damage. Judi was already out in the world, armed with unnatural powers and a warped moral compass. And as far as she was concerned, she owed her father nothing, not love, not loyalty, not even forgiveness. Judi's personality, sadistic, calculated, and unstoppable. Judi's personality is a volatile mix of intelligence, cruelty, and ambition. She doesn't lash out in mindless rage. Her moves are calculated. She knows how to read people, find their weaknesses, and exploit them to maximum effect. Her sadism isn't always obvious at first glance. She can be charming, even disarmingly, friendly, when it suits her. But behind the smile is someone who enjoys pulling strings and watching people dance to her tune. Unlike many outcasts who were born with their abilities, Judi's powers were earned through suffering. That makes her dangerous in a different way. She doesn't take her abilities for granted, and she's willing to go further than anyone else to keep them. What exactly are Judi's powers? The series hasn't fully revealed the extent of Judi's abilities, but given the nature of Augustus' experiments, they could be borrowed from multiple outcasts. This opens up chilling possibilities. Judi might not just have one supernatural gift, but a combination of them. That would explain why she's so confident in facing opponents most people would run from. Would also make her unpredictable. No one can be sure what she's capable of until it's too late. If her powers are unstable due to the transfer process, that instability might also make her more dangerous. After all, when you can't predict the limits of your own strength, it's easy to cross lines you can't come back from. Judi's relationship with Augustus. Judi's connection to her father is complicated. On one hand, he's the reason she has her powers. On the other, he's the reason her childhood and her humanity were stolen from her. It's unclear whether she resents him, pities him, or feels nothing at all. But given her personality, it's possible she sees him as just another pawn, someone she can manipulate if it serves her goals. If Augustus tries to make amends or control her, he may find himself in far more danger than any of his past test subjects ever were. The bigger picture, Judi's role in Wednesday's world. In the grand tapestry of Wednesday's supernatural universe, Judi represents a new kind of threat. She's not bound by the traditions or codes of the outcast community because she wasn't born into it. She's an outsider. And yet, thanks to her father's work, she's more powerful than most insiders. This gives her the freedom to move between worlds, playing both sides when it suits her. She can infiltrate outcast spaces while still understanding how to blend in with normies. That adaptability, paired with her ruthlessness, makes her a wild card in any conflict. Is Judi a villain or a victim? This is the question that makes her so compelling. On one level, Judi is absolutely a villain. She manipulates, she harms, she enjoys the suffering of others. But on another level, she's a victim of her father's ambition. She didn't choose to be experimented on. She didn't choose to have her personality twisted by trauma and unnatural power. It's possible that somewhere deep down, a part of Judi remembers the person she might have been if Augustus had never interfered. But whether that part of her can be reached, or if it even wants to be, remains to be seen. What could happen next? If Wednesday continues to explore Judi's character, we could see several intriguing developments. A showdown with Wednesday. Given Wednesday's sharp mind and unshakable determination, she might be one of the few people who can outthink Judi. Augustus' return. If Augustus comes back into the picture, it could set up a tense father-daughter confrontation. Power instability. If Judi's abilities start to backfire due to the flawed transfer process, it could push her to even more desperate and dangerous actions. Possible redemption. Unlikely, but if anyone could dig deep enough to see the victim beneath the villain, it might be a character like Enid or Xavier. The lasting impact of Judi's story. Judi's existence is a warning about the dangers of obsession and the ethical limits of science. She's living proof that trying to force nature's hand comes with a price, and that sometimes the price is paid by the people we claim to love. Whether she ends up as Wednesday's greatest rival or an uneasy ally, one thing is clear: Judi is not someone to underestimate. She's a survivor, a strategist, and a storm waiting to break. And in the twisted halls of Nevermore and beyond, storms have a way of leaving nothing but chaos in their wake.